Hey everyone, welcome to Pitch It To Me podcast, a show about the subjective past, present, and potential future of flesh and blood design. Today's episode will be about the newly released Mastery Pack Guardian. You can find us across all socials, such as Bluesky and Instagram, at Pitch It To Me podcast.
I'm Joel.
I'm Fuzzy.
And I'm Clark.
And we'd like to give a warm welcome to our special guest today, Brian Gutierrez.
Yo!
Welcome to Fuzzy's Garage.
Hey, hot to be here. I mean, happy to be here.
Yeah, it is approximately 2 seconds into this episode. I think we're all already sweating, but
Just because of how hot this Mastery Pack Guardian set is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
So, Brian, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and why our audience should be absolutely hyped to have you on our show?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, everyone. My name is Brian Gutierrez. I am a local fabber in SoCal. My hometown LGS is Turn Zero Games.
Woo.
I run the Guardians of Wraith Discord server.
Did you start it? You created it?
I did. If you haven't been on it, there's actually a lot to it. I have a bunch of I have a Bravo bot that I made. He does a lot of automation. He's like a whole AI.
Oh, cool.
And he responds to you and how Bravo would respond to you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Which is mostly just words of affirmation, which sometimes is really nice and sometimes very frustrating.
I actually have him purposefully on the salt complaints channel, as super active on it. So if someone says anything super negative, his immediate response is to just be extremely unnecessarily positive. And people are always like, I fucking hate this.
You can swear.
Yeah.
I fucking hate this guy. You're like, fuck you, Bravo. Let me be salty.
Just like Bravo in real life.
How long ago did you make the Discord?
So the Discord has been around for maybe 3 or 4 months. Right now, it's about 383 active people. Right, and the whole real reason for making it was I wanted kind of to have a Guardian hub where people would tell me their accolades. I would give them the assigned role of this
cool.
person has top 8 at a battle hardened.
So you've got a meritocracy.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, right.
And you even ran tournaments out of your Discord, right?
Correct. So yeah, we do leagues. So, people play for gem packs, people play for special promo cards that I pull myself from Guardian events. Cool. Yeah, we were doing win a playset of EA Battered to a Pulp, or or win a playset of this, or win a special playmat, something really cool, get the community involved. Really just make it a space where people can just have fun playing Fab.
Yeah, a lot of great deck list sharing, a lot of great brewing happening in a lot of those hero-specific channels too.
Thank you. Yeah, and yes, I did a lot of work, but it really is the people constantly chatting, constantly being there. I'm not there all the time. I have my own life as well. But, the people constantly being involved and really getting in with the community is great.
Is it okay if I post a link to your Discord in the description for this video?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then,
it'll be down in the doobly-doo.
And you can also find me at Goblets on Spotify, where you can hear all my music. Ooh. You'll soon find me on YouTube under Goblets. Goblets, technically.
How is that spelled?
Goblitz.
Hey,
Goblets. Yeah, Goblets. You'll find me there doing Fab content. I'll be doing compositional pieces for Fab heroes. Kind of if Bravo had a theme, what would it be?
That's hell yeah.
Dude.
That's some really cool content.
Yeah, something a little different, adding to the whole Fab content creation sphere. Trying to, do something a little different for the community, a little more fun, a little more I'll have my viewers tell me, oh, you should do this for Vincent. And I'll be let's do it. And we'll make it a metal track or something.
Yeah.
Right? Violence.
I think violins for Vincent would go fucking hard.
Yep. And I think stuff like that just sounds really fun and interesting. And it's
that's such a unique bit of content to add to the community. It sounds really interesting.
It also kind of reminds me of Dead Summer Art and what Dead Summer Art was doing with some of the lore. One of their big projects that they were trying to get off the ground a few months ago was fully voice acted and sound designed retellings of lore articles.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dude.
And
Dead Summer Art, hit up my line. I would love to help you.
yeah, it'd be so cool to see you do music for that.
And on top of that, I do coffee consultation in LA. I've helped multiple cafes start up their cafes. If you have a coffee project you want to start on, coffee cart, a takeaway business, restaurant, fine dining, you let me know.
Nice.
At goblets@vgcgoblet.com. Email me and let's get in touch.
Do you want us to put that in the description as well?
Yeah.
It'll be down there. So if anyone can reach out to you with any business opportunities, music, coffee, you're a whole fucking renaissance man.
On top of that, you also, I believe, won an AGE.
Correct. Yes, I won the local 1K circuit in March on Jarl Vertrady.
Over my local demon, Luke Gilmore. We have brought Brian on to talk about Mastery Pack Guardian. One, because of all your expertise with the Guardian class, the fact that you are a leader in the Guardian community by having this Discord, and also by the fact that you have earned accolades by like winning local tournaments on Guardian. It was at the most recent AGE where I knew we were going to be doing an episode on this set, but I also knew that I was the only one with any real Guardian experience, and I didn't want to be the only voice in the room. And I was talking with you because you brought Balda. Day of release, you were like cracking open packs at the AGE to get cards to put in the deck that you were running that day. Like, you are a die-hard Guardian main, and I was like, oh, I really want Brian on this episode.
My only regret is that it wasn't max rarity, Balda.
Oh, you didn't get max rarity on day one?
I know.
You didn't get the EA Peck Perfects?
Brokey alert.
So, yeah, we're talking about Mastery Pack Guardian. I think this has been a pretty testy set. There's a lot of different opinions and feelings surrounding Mastery Pack Guardian and how people have responded to it. So I think going into Red Pitch, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the expectations that a lot of audience members had coming into the set, and perhaps how those didn't quite align with the intentions of LSS as they made and released the set. So starting off, I want to hear from Fuzzy and Joel, because you don't play Guardian. What did you think of the set? How did you view it both in the run-up and during the release?
I remember when they announced Mastery Pack Guardian, I thought it was cool that Legend Story Studios was recognizing that it's hard to give support to all of the different classes in the game. And by introducing a little bit extra, like, okay, here's like a half a set for one class every once in a while, I think that can help bridge the gap between all of these classes that are competing for support when it comes to these classes, and especially ones that might even receive a class that's focused on them, but then not really get any support that actually helps them. Like, we see this time and time again in Modern Flesh and Blood, where the new sets don't help older heroes. So having another little way for us to see more support, even more so than the Armory decks they're already doing, I thought was a nice way for them to bridge some of those gaps. So Guardian being like the first class to receive like this focused support made a lot of sense to me. I was imagining like we'd see some reprints like, oh, hey, Guardian players, like here's a way to like boost your collection if you haven't been around that long, but you want to get into the class.
For me personally, I unfortunately have a lot of friends in my circle who are disgruntled Guardian players. So my expectation itself was like, as soon as they knew it was crack shuffle play, like a lot of it is going to be watered down with limited, as all sets are, because it wasn't like a true supplemental set, but they want to target, I assume, every Guardian. So I was a little excited because, you know, we eventually get some Betsy support, and we also get some Bravo support, so he can finally LL. So I was pretty excited about it. But as far as like the strength of it, I don't think I had any like specific expectations outside of like it being bad, because that's what people assume.
I'm really happy that you mentioned that. I expected something for every Guardian hero. Because Brian, you and me, now as the Guardian players, how did we see this coming up?
Yeah, so a huge one for me initially was I was wondering how they were going to implement Jarl cards into it, because there was a specific quote, Brian Gottlieb, saying that Jarl is going to get something huge help from this set short after the Armory deck Origins release.
Really?
He did, yeah. He did say that. You know, maybe later I'll link in the doobly-doo. But that was a huge one where I was like, oh, so they're really priming this to be like Guardian inclusive, Betsy, Jarl, Bravo, Victor, and then now we know Valda. And I was like, wow, it made me really curious to see how this set would pan out. Like what the cards would look like, what the design space would look like. How exactly are they going to give us new elements to combat the meta?
Yeah, and I think it was really their main tagline, master your class, right? That's their big tagline for the Mastery Pack series. And I think that led to this idea of like, well, every single hero is going to get something specifically for them or intended for them. And then how did we feel as the set began to come out? Because I'm kind of with Joel. The moment I heard Crack Shuffle play, I was like, oh, there's going to be a lot of filler in here and a lot of people are going to be upset at that. But I also realized that, you know what? That's kind of to be expected. I think LSS has learned they have a really hard time moving packs when there isn't a limited format attached to it. That was sort of why the original supplemental sets weren't really working as products. They weren't moving packs unless those packs had ridiculously overpriced important Majestics that needed to be pulled. Otherwise, they just didn't sell. So, okay, there needs to be a limited format. Here's Crack Shuffle Play. It's for a single class. That all works very, very well together. So there's going to be a lot of draft chaff. So it's how much else are we going to get in it?
And I think it's fine to have a set that's so focused like Mastery Pack Guardian could have or maybe has been. And it's fine for a lot of the commons to be very unplayable. Like these common cards that are like, if this targets a Guardian hero, destroy their Seismic Surge. I think that's a really fun card to throw into Limited, and it doesn't feel like it's really pushing out potential cards that for Classic Constructed in the same way that like a Majestic would. Like when people started seeing cards printed at Marvel Rarity, like the full arts, these old ones, like those cards that actually only had effects that applied against Guardian heroes, and the rest of it felt very vanilla, right? Like it's just Heave 2. I think at that point was when players' alarm bells started going off.
Or having misinterpretations. I've heard a lot of people say, and as someone who pays a lot more attention to more of the channels on that Guardian Discord, you let me know if I'm on the right track here or not, Brian, they looked at those cards and said, well, that's Guardian hate.
Yes. That, and when you see that the set was also coming with generics that had stapled Guardian hate on them.
Fearless Confrontation, removing the dominate.
Yes.
Which is such an important keyword for so many Guardian cards.
And the new Barkskin Trunks, I can't remember their name.
Base of the Mountain.
Base of the Mountain.
New Legendary Legs.
Yeah. And in fact, that one was crazy. Not to deviate a little too much, but that really did look like a Jarl card or like a Earth Guardian.
Earthy,
yeah, I was, yes. So I felt a little gaslit by that. I was like, oh, this is the Jarl card they were talking about. Back into like, intent and expectation. I was really thinking like, I'm going to master my class I've been playing for a long time.
Right.
Probably coming up 3 years playing Guardian. This is going to upgrade me to the next level or present cool deck building ideas to then pivot bring in 30 of the same generic crush blues in Bravo. And I was like, oh, maybe this will create a space for me to suddenly start, using not more powerful cards, but cards that have a different effect overall. And that was a huge one, I think, that a lot of people were expecting. So when Crack Shuffle Play was brought into the picture, suddenly I'm thinking, wait, this Crack Shuffle Play is more of a limited, low power set that, you kind of introduce your friend who's never really touched Fab, who's never really seen a Fab card. And now you're like, hey, let me just open some packs together.
In research for this episode, I was looking for the product release page, and they have it separated into the introductory products category.
Wow.
Like at least in that sense, the way the website is structured, this is officially an introductory product. And that's a little bit surprising to me. Like when they first announced it, like it didn't necessarily sound like that. The marketing of Mastery Pack Guardian makes me think that it's for somebody working on their mastery, not like learning the fundamentals,
Yeah, like if you think about the road from heavy hitters to Mastery Pack Guardian, Guardian was one of those classes that had a surprising lack of expansion slot cards and a lack of main set Guardian support. So that long period of time without adequate support to keep up with the top meta threats outside of like, you know, Victor doing well at some rogue tournaments. What else do you think Mastery Pack Guardian is going to be besides something to like really buff up the class at that point?
I do think, though, if you go back and listen to some of our first reactions on this pod about it, we did know that it was going to be strong as an introductory product. It being a single class set, and we talked about how it was a great opportunity to get old reprints in. Something that Bright Lights did very poorly, right? Because at the end of the day, they're like, oh, we can't print Throttle and Zipper Hit and 0 to 60. They're too strong for our limited environment. And it's like, God damn it, like, print the fucking basic old cards that people can't get their hands on anymore. That's really important for new players. And so I think we always knew that Guardian Mastery Pack was going to be strong as an introductory set. And then when Crack Shuffle Play was announced as a core part of it, we knew there was going to be a lot of filler and it was going to be lower power in the commons and rares, which I think opens up an important question. And Brian, I'd love to hear you answer this. Do you think that every single card printed in a set should be intended to be playable in a CC deck?
I think when thinking about deck construction, there should be some merit to running certain commons and rares over others for the benefit of these, or like the synergy of the deck. Like, why would I run certain non-attacks over attacks if I'm running a clash deck? Why am I running, if I'm trying to just go big, tall, dominate attacks? What's my value proposition when I start running a bunch of non-attacks? And trying to find the balance between those, I feel like a good CC deck is a balance of Majestics, Legendaries, Commons, and Rares. And I feel when you add more of a card to that pool that aren't just strict upgrades to older cards, I do think, yes, every card should be playable because it satisfies, you cast a wider net. For, not every person wants to go to the calling, go to their nationals and try to top 8. They just want to go to their local armory, create a deck that they made from their own, thought chasm and went, hey, I think this would be a cool idea. This would be something really cool.
Let's talk about one card that I think has been an important card about this debate specifically, which is Grind Them Down. It is a 3 cost, 7 power, 3 block red crush card, crush card, that says, if this deals 4 or more damage, destroy the top card of the opponent's deck, right? That is very much a card that I think is in line with what you're saying. It's a common, not very powerful, 3 for 7 crush. It's a rate we've seen before. It's a rate that's established in the game. And it portrays a new way of attacking the opponent that is probably not going to become the top meta way of winning the game. Like, Guardian's not going to go to the top of the meta and win through mill, right?
Yeah, I think they had in a old ban and restricted announcement where they were talking about offensive leaps in the game, how they would prefer games ending by heroes going to 0 health and not 0 cards in deck. And then I see a card like Grind Them Down and a lot of the mill cards. And it makes me question in what part of their build cycle was this, like a post that ban list or a pre that ban list design?
Yeah, well, we do know that they're not completely opposed to it. They just said they want most of the games to end like with a hero reducing to 0, right?
Yeah.
So
maybe they always wanted this to be an off meta strategy.
Yeah.
We have more options, we have more tools, and even if they aren't the most relevant now, you never know. There's always a hero or a combination of cards that could be released that suddenly, Grind Them Down may be a must-run rainbow.
And maybe like it becomes more of a thing in Commoner, or if Project Blue becomes more of an official format, But I could definitely see like a world where it is possible for these to be run. I think it's also possible for them to not really ever see competitive play, but that's not necessarily for LSS to decide, right? Like,
yeah. And I think a big thing is like, when they tell me they're going to print support, I am thinking like, oh, what tech pieces am I going to get to combat allies? What reprints am I going to see in the higher end Guardian package, right? Or will they do the inverse and then print in-class armor suite that I can run instead of Crown of Providence, Tunic, Quick Dodge Flexors.
Yeah, something that Guardian's really been fiending for.
Yeah.
We got a new Legendary Shield, which has some really, really cool synergy with heavy Seismic Surge builds, which of course is going to be incredible in Valda. But we didn't really get any other Majestic or Legendary level equipment, did we?
No.
Just the generic legs.
Just the generic legs. And, you know, that is something that I've been seeing a lot. Where, like, when I first saw Quick Dodge, I actually didn't read the bottom text. I was like, oh, they printed a new Guardian leg slot. Whoa. Just to see it be generic and Enigma runs it better.
Yeah.
And just, you know, like, just like when I first heard of LSS saying Mastery Pack Guardian at the keynote, I was so excited. And, you know, very rightly so. I think they've done a good job. And, you know, when I hear LSS say they're going to print a new mastery set for a whole class dedicated to this class, you know, I do build some high expectations, like especially coming off the back of MST, Rose, Hunted, and I'm like, wow, like, you know, I wonder what kind of push cards we're going to get, you know, in those slots, and it's hard to say if it truly lived up to the expectation, but I think looking back, it's been about a month now. And now that the intent is more clear as time has passed, it's become a lot more solidly understood that this is a good stepping stone, mastering the Guardian class, you know, as opposed to mastered the Guardian class. Right?
I think this also feels a little bit odd because we're getting Super Slam so soon after this comes out, right? Mastery Pack Guardian was meant to be released at the beginning of the year. And so I think we were expected to sit with these cards for a few more months before Super Slam came out. And I think it being delayed and right next to Super Slam made waiting for any new cards worse. And then when we got them, they weren't good enough. And in another month, we're going to get even more. I truly believe there is a Legendary Guardian equipment in Super Slam. And the reason it's not in Mastery Pack Guardian is because it's in Super Slam. And they made that decision a year or two ago when they set out their set release schedule.
And, you know, I actually do think the delay really hurt them. Like, I go back to, like, video games or updates in video games where it's like, oh, we're delaying this product because we want it to be perfect, right? We're not putting it out in X amount of time because we need more time to get it right, you know? And when you make, you know, a class that, you know, hasn't been converting well at the top levels, you know, and you tell them, hey, your big support's coming. Hey, your time will be soon, but you need to wait a little longer, 4 more months. You know, it really builds that anticipation. You're like, oh man, I just gotta wait. Give me next month. Next month, you're not gonna beat me, Fuzzy.
Yeah, you keep telling the people at your locals, just you wait till I get my master back. Just you, I'm gonna get you, and then you just don't, right?
Yeah.
I think that sort of comes to, I think, a very important question that you are the best person probably to answer it. Do you think people had unhealthy expectations?
Oh, 100%. I mean, you know, I do run the Guardian Discord, so I feel like I got the most brunt force of a lot of Guardian-hearted people's reactions. And it was very intense.
Both after release and leading up to it.
Yeah, spoiler season. Oh my gosh, dude!
Every single card.
There was a lot of mediation there. You know? I remember when they finally released. I think it was like towards the end. I can't necessarily remember, but I had to do the whole "it's okay, guys. They can't hurt us anymore" at the final release of that week.
Yeah.
Because it was a tough week. I mean, as someone like me who loves the class and would have loved to see maybe different wording choices, or, you know, when you have that expectation, which I am gonna, you know, admit I felt into that I built an expectation in my own head. You know, it's not like, you know, someone on the development team or Brian Go came up to me and went, hey, Brian, this set, it's going to break all your expectations. I did that to myself.
Yeah.
And I had convinced myself that, hey, we're going to get Guardian's version of Mirror Guy, Guardian's version of Codex, Guardian's version of, like this 1 card, 2 card, crazy combo, your opponent doesn't get to play the game after this point.
And there are like cards in the set that I feel could potentially live up to that power level, just with a little bit of extra variance on them. Like Test of Iron Grip, namely, is a card that like blocks for 4 and you have to discard. Like in the middle of a combat chain, that can ruin your entire turn while it blocks for 4. And like it is true that there's a chance it hurts the Guardian player too. You're losing a card to it. But the power is there, similar to like Blazing Ether Wildfire. You can just kind of like miss your combo and lose the game,
Oh, 100%. Something I will say is it's not like they didn't design good cards. I mean, Leyline of the Old Ones is
so cool.
Amazing. I love that card. It actually opens up a lot of cool deck building trees for all the Guardians if you want to build into that avenue. And on top of that, Test of Iron Grip is just a house.
Yeah.
I mean, especially Invictor, which got a lot of buffs from the set particularly.
100%, yeah.
But yeah, Test of Iron Grip, I mean, it's going to be a card that I think from this point forward, most, if not all classes, when they sit next to a Guardian, is going to think, are they running Test of Iron Grip?
Yeah.
Which will make them choose to attack you from a different axis. And they might lose points in that play, believing that, hey, you have a playset of this in your deck. I only brought one.
So do you think that like having 2 almost objectively strong, like must run staples printed in the set, maybe more depending on how you count it, but I'm saying like, I feel like 2 is a safe number. Do you think that's too low for your expectations of this set? Or do you think like having 2 like new staples and then like a couple more like subjective power cards, like what's the line, right?
We did get some nice tech cards to screw over aura-based classes, which has always been something that Guardians have struggled with. So it's also not like we didn't get tech pieces either.
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing that kills allies. I think that would have been like the thing that kind of sinks it.
Currently relevant in the meta, but not to say we didn't get some.
100%. And going back to what Fuzzy said, do those 2 cards make a huge game warping impact? Maybe. I know Test of Iron Grip is huge in Victor specifically because he gets the reclash, but it's like a very dangerous game to play that at a top table. Like if I'm in my winning in at a big event and I draw Test of Grip, it's turn 10 and I haven't seen the other 2. And if I test a grip here and I reveal the other test of grip and I'm not on Victor, I probably lose that game on the spot. It's going to be a feels bad. If I win it, did I really skill gap my opponent? Did I really make every single, there's a lot to be said about like the clash mechanic and being played at the highest level and how it's a bit RNG, how it's a bit variance, but like, I think a healthy amount of variance is good. I would love to see more cards designed with variance in mind through effects like crush, like, if this crushes, my cards get clashed, or like things that there is a benefit from doing the crush that then gives a probably negligible benefit on block, or just a bunch of those more, like a bunch of cards like that, I feel like would do more to benefit the class as a whole, as opposed to just printing like this really juiced card that is now like potentially gonna take X slots from a card that's already around. Like I remember when it came out, we were thinking, all right, so how many of this does it replace for Trounce? Am I on like 2 Trounce?
Yeah, I was
now,
talking about like taking off Trounces altogether, and instead it was really removing pummels.
Yeah.
Rather than my Trounces.
Yeah, and just like it was just like finding the axes in that. So I do think like, yes, Guardian is stronger by it, but I don't think, Guardian's going to convert crazy because we have a 1 of a Leyline of the Old Ones and a sometimes maybe 2, 3 of block card, right? Because that doesn't necessarily progress the board state, right? Like I was really hoping for maybe something that not necessarily destroyed allies or helped with allies, but that helped push our game plan forward, but that wasn't too conditional.
I mean, what I really hear here is something that I've also heard from our good friend and executive producer, Talon, which is that it's not about getting the occasional juiced Majestic that adds an injection of power. It's really about seeing your commons and rares have a big turnover and develop a brand new way of playing the game, even if maybe only one or two of those make their way into the list, they can make a very big difference. Like what happened to Azalea with Outsiders, right? Getting those new pumps and those new arrows with those on hits did so much for her that catapulted her from a meme deck to a competitive level deck. Exactly. Not dominating deck, even though that's what her ability does.
Pun intended.
Got him.
Always able to be at those top tables now. That is what that set did for her. And I think that's what everyone expects whenever a new set comes out for their class. They're expecting it to be able to go from, well, now I can take it to a tournament and not feel bad because I got all these common and rares that overhauled the deck. Even though I don't know if that's always feasible.
You know, not to interject something else, but truly, aside from just core competitive gaming, something that I really wanted to see was different art for old cards. Like, give me an entrenched Fab Guardian gamer a reason to buy the set other than the Chase Majestics and Marbles. Like, you know, I know they did it with the Macho. Something that I really craved to see was Carlos Crush, a Welcome to Wraith, you know, classic, reimagined in more modern 2025 Fab design.
You don't like the nostalgic, old style
Kickstarter funded art.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a 08 DA art.
He's like, the guy on the art, he's getting like elbowed in the ribs and he's spitting some liquid that is the same color as everything else in the art, like this weird brown.
The overall vision for heroes and identities, at least in the art, has become so clear that, like, sometimes when you see a ninja card, you're like, oh, that's a ninja card.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you see a room, you're like, oh, that's a Ruin Blade card. That's a card for Bolton. You know? And then, you know, when you see Cartilage Crush, you're like, whose stock image? Not to, you know, be mean to the artist. You know, I know artists work hard, but, you know, just like, I feel like it's really fun when they do that to old art. They just print it in a new set, and then it gives people like me, Clark, or, you know, also people who have collections the opportunity to collect into a new art, right? And, you know, I could put this next to my pink strip alpha foil card.
Yeah.
You know, and then now I can play Cartilage Crush in the new art, and now I can have like a alpha version, the new version, and then, you know,
I can track my pitch stack with which cards of Cartilage Crush I've seen.
I now know I'm in my third pitch stack. I just think that kind of stuff is really fun and a little bit of a missed opportunity.
It adds extra value to the set that isn't always immediately tangible through playability and through literally sitting down with the cards, putting them on the combat chain.
Or even fiscally, like reimagining the art for commons and rares feels like such a cool way to add value to a set without making them busted majestics or upscaling the rarity.
It does cost them money as a company. They got to pay an artist and they have to make sure it is consistent.
So does everything. Everything costs money.
But actually, reprinting old cards doesn't cost as much, and just reusing the old art doesn't cost as much.
It is lame, though. That's more expensive than money.
Yeah. All right. I think this pitch has definitely gone on for a very long time. I think it did encapsulate a lot of the big topics we wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
But now we're going to move on to our yellow pitch, where we're going to speak more directly to some of the power level and design trends that came out in Mastery Pack Guardian. So let's start it off. What were some of the strongest cards of the set, or sleeper cards? Cards that we didn't think a lot of maybe during the initial release cycle and spoiler season, but as we've sat down, tested, and played with the cards, they performed better than expected.
I mean, I think everyone knew when Leyline was released, that one was going to be a banger.
Yeah.
Everyone knew it was going to be good.
But a huge one was Tectonic Instability.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That card is a house. I love that card. It's a 3-of in my current Volta. It'll probably be replacing certain other blues in my other decks. It's just so good.
Can I read the card?
Yeah.
Tectonic Instability is that blue 3-block rare. It's a non-attack action that says each hero puts a card from their arsenal on the bottom of their deck. If they do, draw a card. and you create seismic surge tokens equal to the number of cards drawn this way. And it's got Go Again.
Yes.
So if you're Balda, off of playing this card, sinking your arsenal and an opponent's arsenal, and then both of you drawing a card, that is 3 seismic surges off rip off of playing a single card, and you just removed their arsenal, which, let's be honest here, probably had a D-react.
Yeah. I mean, also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but they printed a new keyword on the card. It says Go Again.
Like, Guardian has Go Again. Holy shit!
Class is saved.
I was wait, what's this Go Again in black bold text? I had to look up the rules on the website.
Apparently, you can do something after playing the card.
Yeah. It's like when you play Zealous Belting, but like you're not attacking.
Well, they really pushed design on this. I think this keyword's going to see a lot of play.
but no joke, I think it's actually super important. One of the things that Guardians have always struggled with is having to run lots of blue cards, and those blue cards essentially being like boring ass crush cards that don't really do anything because they're blue and their attack power isn't high enough to make crush relevant. It's so crazy that we can like dominate a crippling crush and we're like, yes, mission accomplished. We time walk to the opponent, and then we draw 4 blue choke slams and debilitates, and we're like, what to do? What
And
to
for
do?
my next trick, I'm going to give you 4 cards.
But this gives us blue block 3s that are also incredible at converting those big blue hands once we actually get tempo.
Mm-hmm.
And once you actually start looking at playing multiples of them together, like promising terrain with tectonic instability, then you are like, whoa, I'm getting some serious value here. Promising terrain, another Guardian action. This one's an aura though, so it's going to stay on the field for a turn. Blue 0 cost 3 block with that sweet, sweet Go Again that says, if you would create 1 or more seismic surge tokens, instead create that many +1. And then at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. And if you control 3 or more seismic surge tokens, draw a card and gain a life. Woo! So good.
Now, if you open with 2 and you have Grandeur, a ley line, oh my, and when you have all these blues that can convert into cards, and you're playing Go Again into Terrace Under Pulverize because you created 10 seismics.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's doable. It's doable. We're not joking around with that.
Let me play 2 Rouses, both revealing Pulverize, then pitch for freaking Terrace Under, give my next discounted card.
Jesus Christ.
And then now we're cooking with gas.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how really giving support in the rare and common slot for upping our consistency curve, but also our high roll potential is super huge.
And you were just talking about this, like the strength of a set is really predicated on the amount of commons and rares that really increase the amount of playables and like how that structures decks that want to use the new cards. The commons and rares are what makes the Majestics more viable and playable in these decks. Tectonic Instability is just like one of those cards where like this is exactly what Guardian needed.
Yeah. Even though this is a color-locked rare, it only shows up as a 3 of in any list, which is essentially the same as if we got a Majestic, but it's not a Majestic, right? It is a rare, which means that it doesn't need to be as pushed and they don't need to be as concerned with it. It's so odd how it being a rare almost makes it more viable.
Honestly, another card I really want to give a shout out, that is my Cope card. It's called Hostile Encroachment.
Oh, is that the...
See, because I think, so I haven't tested this card, but I kind of hate this card, so sell me on it.
It reads terrible.
Yeah.
Can someone read it for me?
Hostile Encroachment is a 3 cost, 3 block, 8 power, color locked red that says, when this attacks a hero, they draw a card. But it has Crush. When this deals 4 or more damage to a hero, they discard a card.
So when you read this card, you're like, oh wow, my opponent gets to fix their hand. Let's go. +1 power. I get +1 power. My opponent gets one more card. This is peak Guardian design. Forget just the Nick. Give me 3 hostile encroachments. No, so
Bro, that was what you really feel.
Yeah, I think when you look at the value proposition in this card, it reads like pretty weird. Like you're like, okay, I get +1 power on a 3 cost, a 3 for 8. It actually does kind of break Guardian design. A lot of Guardian cards are really true to the 8 value per printed card kind of fab design principle. This card is the first one that is 9 value just on numerical value for your opponent. And if, they draw the card, discard the card, you still got like your 9 value.
You're also thinking from Valda perspective, because they draw the card, you make the seismic.
That's 10 value, right? Because if they draw a card, you create a seismic. No, what I mean by the 8 value per card printed. So a card tax for 8, that's 8 value.
Yeah.
It blocks for 3, that's 11, and it pitches for 1, so that's 12. If you minus its cost, which is 3, it goes down to 9. If you look at a bunch of commons, rares, and majestics in Guardian, they all have the printed value of 8 on their card of how they functionally work.
In terms of all the math adding up.
This is the first Fab Guardian card in rare that breaks that design principle. And this is actually going above rate on the printed physical numbers of the card.
Yeah.
Which is what caught me initially as like, oh, I wonder how they balance this. Oh, I give my opponent an extra card.
You give them like filtering.
Yeah.
Right? That's the idea.
So,
is that if they have the ability to stop the crush, one, you did just give them an extra card. If they can't stop the crush, you essentially gave them a sink below effect. Of being able to draw a card and then get rid of the worst card in their hand.
So what I actually enjoyed about this card is with Valda, you do give the card Dominate. And it does get around a D-React.
Okay.
So it makes it really tricky for them to fully keep the hand. But because it is the perfect 3-cost card, it's really easy to like couple this with Terra Sunder, and then now you have multiple levels of hand disruption.
Yeah.
On a overstated card that could potentially be free off of Valda's ability.
Or like put a pummel on top of it.
And when you're able to stack the disruption, this card goes from being like pretty freaking bad to just okay. Like,
we're so back.
Truly, like I'm not gonna go ahead and look at all 3 of you in the face and say this is a must run. You gotta run 3 of this card. But it genuinely is a lot sweeter than it reads on paper. Like the real negative is that your opponent does get to filter, but if you're building your deck around really playing out these free, dominated, overstated crush cards, you can see yourself getting slow value propositions over a 10, 12, 14 turn long game, which is Guardian's overall game plan, in most cases.
Yeah, if that doesn't speak to how ingrained you are in the Guardian class and how invested you are, like sniping that difference in value and like why they chose to make it slightly above rate and the downside associated with it, and like the situations that you're trying to brew in your deck to circumvent this negative downside with this overstated card is really interesting to hear about.
Brian, you're looking at this card all wrong. This is a Jarl card. It's got a Jarl looking guy on the front, and Jarl can run Channel the Bleak Expanse. Channel the Bleak Expanse stops them from drawing cards. So suddenly, it's a 3 for 8 with upside. A 3 for 8 with upside.
And when you play Channel the Bleak Expanse, you give him a Frostbite.
Exactly.
Oh.
Channel the Bleak Expanse has that incredible keyword that I think they must have like introduced it to Guardian back in Uprising because it has go again. So you can just play Channel the Bleak Expanse and then just play this 3 for 8.
Wait, we should delete this. We're cooking too hard.
Or Tectonic Instability. If you don't have an arsenal, because Channel Bleak Expanse also affects you, but if they have an arsenal and you don't, you can play Tectonic Instability in Jarl. They lose their arsenal, and that's it. And then you play the 3 for 8.
Yeah.
We are cooking.
He's cooking hotter than it is in this very room.
Audience, that is very hot.
You're talking about these symmetrical crush cards.
Yeah.
So that's Hostile Encroachment, Fault Line, and Renounce Grandeur.
I believe Renounce Grandeur, it's not
Stops them from making tokens.
And it gets a bonus if they have a token.
Yes.
So like there's obvious design intent with these cards. They actually don't come in rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
I do think they're in their own little, what we would call like a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you look at these cards from a very cynical point of view, you know, you kind of just laugh and go, haha, we get another bad crush card with like, you know, negligible value. But really, like, I would have ran 3 of Renounce Grandeur during like Florian OTK.
The Viscerai meta?
Viscerai meta. Like,
oh yeah.
Like those cards are crazy. Like it just happened to be that we missed the curb on a couple of these.
Right. And this would have come out originally during that meta when Aurora and Viscerai were at the peak.
Yeah. I mean, we're now, you know, not being able to give Aurora those embodiments of lightning, Viscerai, those rune chants. Also, if you read the card for Renounce, you don't get Bloodrot Pox, you don't get Frailty. It says your opponent can't create tokens. And
Codex of Frailty doesn't give you the Frailty. They don't get the Ponder.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, it's not so negligible. Like these cards are pretty real. You just have to build around a meta or a very specific design.
It needs to be the right meta. And we're not in that meta right
exactly.
now.
And I feel like a lot of people, like, you know, when they're playing their locals and they're playing Synderas and Verdants and
Gravies.
and they're like, where's my ally hate right now?
Where's my item hate?
Yeah, where's my item hate? And I'm like, hey, bro, we have yellow Scar for Scar. You're already going to be losing a Gravy. Just kill the ally and then just swing face, you know? You know, I'm joking a little, but really, like, if you dedicate enough slots, or if you really get really creative with it, you know, you really can put yourself in positions where, you know, you may not be able to beat the Michael Hamiltons of the world, but like, you know, your friendly LGS buddy who, you know, is working a 9 to 5 isn't really committing all their time to mastering Verdants or mastering Syndra or mastering Slippy. Like you can do it. Like I don't see why people are so down on like these, you know, cool fun cards.
I will say like
you can't even get through the sentence.
You guys are laughing as if
I will say, like, I'm hyped to play Guardian after. I know it sounds like we're almost on a more of a negative than positive bent for this episode, but like, it is making me want to play Guardian more, you know?
You know, I will actually say this, though. I think if someone who hated Guardian Mastery Pack has been listening to us so far, they're like, these people are fucking LSS shills. They're trying to get that grant money.
Yeah.
And
yes, we are.
And to push away and push back on that, shut the fuck up.
But also, my boy Clark has something to say.
Which is, now let's talk about some of these underperformers. Cards that I think people had this initial really positive reaction to. Maybe even people who weren't Guardian players being like, holy shit, this card is cracked. This card's going to destroy me. And it's not really going to do that. And there's 2 I want to highlight. I'll take the first one, Headbutt. I think everyone saw Headbutt and they're like, oh my god, a majestic 4/6 crush card. We are so back. It can destroy a piece of equipment. And the fact of the matter is that this card just doesn't really do shit.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's got a lot of text for a card that doesn't do anything.
So much text for a card that is ultimately worse than Chokeslam.
Yeah, I think they were going for most cards printed for a card that has 0 text.
Yeah.
Most cards printed.
So let's read Headbutt here. It's a blue 4-cost 6 power 3 block Guardian attack action. It can't be defended by non-head equipment. Now, how I first read that is that they can only block it with a headpiece.
Oh, yeah.
But that is not true. They can block it with any amount of cards from hand or arsenal or banish and any headpiece, but no chest, arms, or leg equipment.
How gas would have Jarl been if this card did say you can only block with head equipment? Could you just pop that and this becomes
so
free?
Fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be the card that they meant. That was for Jarl.
Yeah, exactly.
If I, the Guardian player, have a headpiece equipped and the defending player doesn't, it gains +1. It becomes a 4/7 with Crush. Pretty solid. But what's this Crush effect? Well, if it deals 4 or more damage to a hero, I get to put a -1 counter on a headpiece they have equipped, And then if that headpiece has 0, I get to destroy it. So this does fuck all against everybody who runs a generic headpiece. Because all the generic headpieces block 2. So it doesn't do anything to them. If I crush, it gets -1 and then it sticks around. I have to hit them twice. I have to crush them twice with the headbutt before I can actually get rid of their generic headpiece.
Yeah, the -1 block is pretty negligible. You want to be able to destroy it.
But it's supposed to be good against like Mask of Perdition Slippies, and it's supposed to be good against like Rangers with their Skullbone cross wrap. But they already have bad blocks, and our other crush cards do more against them than this one does. So why am I playing this one into a matchup I am already good into with my other cards?
And I know it sounds obvious in retrospect, but you had to point this out to me earlier, Clark, which is the second line of text where it gets a buff. If you have a head and they don't, it cannot work at the same time as the crush effect, which puts counters on their head equipment. So if they don't have a head equipment, it gets +1. And if they do have a head equipment, then it can get that crush effect, but you can't do both in the same attack. So it like non-bows with itself, or you could say it gets a bonus in multiple different situations, but the way it looks at first is like it wants to work with itself. Like there's an ideal use case, but you're never going to be able to get 100% of the effects on the card.
And when I played it, it was a 4 for 7 literally once in the entire 5-6 rounds I played.
Hey, yo, blue 4 for 7? One time?
Yeah, one time in 6 games.
And this also, this might be obvious, so I apologize, listeners. This doesn't work against like Crown or Dominion either, right?
No. Because that doesn't have a block value. So even if I give it -1, it won't have 0 block.
Yeah. That's crazy. You mean I can't take away their Crown of Dominion?
You mean I can't make them no longer royal?
I'm trying to make my other headbutts 4 for 7.
Oh, yeah.
Come on,
Yeah,
guys,
so if they actually have it, it's stuck.
But now my regicide won't hit.
Oh,
yeah, the regicide that we're definitely...
Yeah. He's right. He's got a point.
The other big underperformer was a card that I think the non-Guardian community really freaked out about.
Yeah.
And then the entire Guardian community was like, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Yeah.
And we tested it. And I would say we're not very high on it, are we, Brian?
No. So the card in question, it's called Seismic Shelter.
Seismic Shelter, it's a blue, 0 cost, 3 block Guardian Action Aura with again?
Go again.
Oh, go again. And it says, attack action cards you control gain +X defense while defending, where X is the number of Seismic Surge tokens you control. So if you make 3 Seismic Surge tokens, all of your attack action cards will gain +3 block. So your classic Crush cards will block for 6 instead of 3. At the start of your turn, destroy this. And having attack action cards that block for 6, pretty fucking crazy, right?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, yeah. It's pretty cracked.
Yeah.
Except when you draw a hand and the only Crush card you drew is the attack that's getting discounted. So then you have all these Seismic Surges, and you can choose to block for 6 or 7 or 4 or 5, but then on your turn when they pop, well, you don't have an attack to play. And then, but if you don't block with it, then you lose all the...
Well, why don't we just run more attack action cards?
Well, here's the thing. None of them generate Seismics. So when you have the hand that has Seismic Shelter, you can't generate the Seismics needed to actually give the card text.
You know, doesn't Valda just like make Seismics a lot of the time?
Only when the opponent draws cards, which is matchup dependent.
Yeah. I agree. But there are like a couple attack actions like the hostile encroachment we're talking about that makes a surge.
Aftershock also. Actually, I didn't get a chance to talk about this in our overperformers. Aftershock has been one of my standouts.
Yeah, in blue and in red. I think that card is...
I wouldn't run it in red in a lot of decks, but if you're on Tectonic Plating and it's a big part of your playstyle, Aftershock is...
It's amazing. Yeah, it does everything. It's even like... It can get a bit abusive in like Earthlore decks. Mm-hmm. But it really just keeps Leyline up. Like, it's such a great card at keeping Leyline up, about kind of just keeping tempo with your Seismics, and overall just really pushing your advantage. Yeah. Even if you have to block out and you need Seismics on the next turn.
But it's really the only attack action card that can give us the Seismic Surges in a meaningful way to make this aura worthwhile to play.
Yeah, it just reads like, what is the true value proposition on this card? Mm-hmm. Right? You play 10 games with it, you resolve it once, you block for 6 on the first attack, and then it goes away. And that's what kind of made me feel like this card was a bit of a underperformer. It never felt terrible because it's a 0 blue block 3. And you know what I mean? Like, that's just good value for a Guardian card. But when you really were trying to build around it, or not build around it, but build a deck that synergized heavily with it, it became hard to balance your crush attacks that you want to create seismics with, or that you want to reduce because of your seismics, and then blocking with the cards that get reduced. It just felt like the another Nambo, right?
Yeah.
Like, yo, I finally created the 8 seismics or 10 seismics. This Pulverize is free, but Pulverize is the only card I drew. So am I gonna block for 13? Or am I going to? Because I feel like the ceiling on any average Fab card, it's like 3 is the juicy number. 4, 6, 7. Those are the juicy numbers, right? So like, if I only have 1 seismic, this card's really only blocking for 1. Unless they go wide on a chain, but then that requires me to have more crush cards.
And you have to sacrifice more cards to block there.
Not to be dismissive, because I totally agree with the challenges that this card presents, but it is a blue. So I feel like if it even gave you like 2 points of value for a 0 cost go again blue, that would probably still be a good blue to have in your deck, something that gets it high up there. Although LSS recently has been really pushing the boundaries for what a blue can do, you know?
Yeah, blues being able to hit red rates. Yeah. And to be honest, this could be in that space, right? This could give +4 to a single block card, which imagine, the Slippy being like, ha ha ha, bonds. And you're like, cool. Here is one card that's blocking 7.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you have the ability to push it to 12? Otherwise, my D-React in Arsenal is stopping everything here.
That, and also, I think another thing to note about this card is that it's a Majestic, right? And I think that's what really threw me off with this card. It's like, had this been printed in Rare, right? I would have been like, okay.
Rare makes so much sense here.
Yeah, but for the value proposition of this card to be potentially 0, right? Or if played, obviously it's always a blue block 3 pitch, right? But the fact that if I were to play this and the value it gave me maybe 0 on a Majestic printed card does give me a bit of a feels bad, which is what made me question, like, what was the design space around some of these cards? Like, what meta does this card specifically fit in that I'm not seeing yet, right?
Yeah.
Where am I going to get my Majestic value out of this card?
Yeah, the fact that this card doesn't generate any seismic surges on its own is a little suspect. And it being maybe you could argue that it being 0 cost is a reason why it doesn't generate seismic surges. But I think it being 0 cost also non-bows with a lot of the Guardian cards that like care about 3 cost cards in pitch or something, or in hand or whatever. 100%. So like you're trading off a lot just for this card.
I mean, let's honestly also talk about that, which is deck building tension. This is something that LSS talks a lot about, and they want present in a lot of their designs. So for Assassins, this is your attack action cards are pretty mediocre standalone, right? If Slippy throws a 0 for 3 into a 0 for 3, we're not sweating, right? No one's sweating. It's the fact that they have the attack reactions to do everything. But then you can draw hands of all attack reactions or draw hands of all attack action cards. You really have to be drawing both of them together, and there's your tension.
Yeah.
For Victor, it's, well, I want all my powerful clash cards, but they're all block cards that make me lose clashes. So you have a deck building tension present. I just feel like there's too much tension right now in Guardian.
Yes.
Where like you said, they don't cost 3, so they're not turning on Titan's Fist, they're not turning on Anathos. And then at the exact same time, they're making seismic surges, but then they're not things that let us make use of seismic surges once we get multiple ones out. There's almost too much tension as we're fighting too many elements of our deck building. We want lots of blues, and we need to be able to throw big attacks, but they're not giving us meaningful big attacks in our blues.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe Headbutt was them leaning in that direction of like, oh, let me give you
they were going
a multifunctional blue that sometimes it's a little above rate.
Yeah, catch him on no D-React, and Headbutt actually looks scary for a lot of decks.
Yeah, but then you get into the thing where it's like, sometimes it's just is another buckling blow, another blue chokeslam. I printed at majestic rarity, and that's what really gets me. It's like
we expected to be doing more.
Yeah, like not to say that like we deserve this to come in for 11 for 4 costs. Like I'm not saying don't push your card to where like now I have to run it. If I don't run it, I'm throwing, right? But where it doesn't, like the deck building tension is satiated by its presence there. Like I'm running this card because it really synergizes with the idea of the deck. And when I get it off, it has a meaningful impact on the game because I've, from turn 0, have been planting the seed to get myself there, right? Where like Crippling Crush is that, right? Crippling Crush is the majestic where it's like, I've been planting
Spinal does as well.
Right? Where like Headbutt, bruh. I get to come in for 1 more power maybe. And also not to say that if you don't have a headpiece, it doesn't get that ability. Like if you simultaneously had to give up your own headpiece, like this card is never attacking for 7. So it's such a weird kind of like, why was this card printed in majestic? Why was Seismic Shelter printed in majestic? Visit Anvilheim. We've expressed the limit of their reach already here in this like brief talk about them, where it's like, I really would have ached for a card that really kind of made me think critically on deck building. From turn 0, I'm thinking, okay, how can I best use this card when it does pop up? Right. Like Raise an Army in Kasai. Like you build your deck to be able to create 2, 3 Centauri Sellswords so it carries you through the end game. And that's a majestic, in EA no less. And and when you see these cards and you're like, man, like I wish I had something similar, right? Because don't get me wrong, like Raise an Army doesn't like win every game. The moment it's resolved on the stack, on the chain, like, you like give your opponent the fist bump. That's not how that works. There's still much more flesh and blood to be played.
Right.
But it's like, I don't see that in Headbutt. I don't see that in Seismic Shelter.
Do you see it and put them in their place?
Yes. I love putting them in their place.
It's a standout card.
Yeah. I mean, it's the perfect juice for her and Valda specifically. I think put them in their place isn't necessarily like, oh, I resolve this, I win. But man, can it win you a game?
Put them in your place. Red, 6 cost, Valda specialization that attacks for 10, blocks for 3. So it's on the Thunderquake on rate. But it also has Crush, which means that Valda can give it Dominate. When this deals 4 or more damage to a hero, they discard their hand, then they draw that many cards. I will note that 10 power Crush is way better than 8 power Crush.
Oh, yeah.
Because it means that they can no longer just get by on that, having that D-React in hand and a piece of equipment. You need to have set up ahead of time to be able to deal with this card. And we can still get around it with Tectonic Instability.
Yeah.
But it says when this deals 4 or more damage, they discard their hand, then draw that many cards. So because we are intending to give this Dominate, they can only sacrifice 1 card from hand. Then if we crush them, they have to discard 3 and draw 3. 1 that works with the mill pseudo win condition as a sideboard, so it works in either build strategy. And then it also draws 3 cards. That means 3 more Seismic Surge from Valda, baby.
Yes, sir.
So we are very cleanly carrying 3 Seismic Surges turn after turn. You can see the tempo and the momentum building coming all from our own positive play patterns that we don't have to worry about, well, what does the opponent have in hand, right? Is my Spinal Crush really going to stop their turn? Is this matchup dependent? No, baby. I don't care who I'm hitting on put them in their place. They are discarding 3 cards and drawing 3 cards, and that's what I need to have happen as Valda.
Yes. It propels your game plan. It's proactive. It's just enough power. It's just enough value. It's just enough setup, right? Like this is your payoff. And it feels that way. Like when you resolve, I'll put them in their place, and then you create the 3 seismics, and then you draw the put them in your place because you pitch stacked it, and then you resolve it again after blocking for 6. And you just keep doing that. You keep chaining these things. You feel like you did something as a Guardian player. And I think that's something that I feel like is missed in a lot of the other
Guardians and a lot of their other strategies.
Yeah.
As Victor, you're sitting there going, well, I hope the top of my deck doesn't fuck me. And as Bravo, you're like, I hope I can keep enough cards to dominate this. You're really sort of hoping or relying on variants to find your way through.
And you're really relying on these crush cards to do it. And not even to mind you, the counterpart cards, which are the heave cards, that like also help you get there. They're just good value cards, like good on-rate value cards. I believe Fuzzy was mentioning this about the old ones. What were you saying?
Oh, yeah, just that it's really easy to see them and notice that you can't use their entire effect unless you're playing against a Guardian. So they feel kind of like draft chaff. But I love a card where just the fundamental numbers there are enough to create a niche for it and find its way into deck lists. Yeah. Just because you're like, hey, I really want Heave 2. Whatever the fuck resource curve I've decided to build around really wants Heave 2 more than it wants Heave 3. And these ones are actually on-rate attacks. So I'm just going to run some of these. And sometimes, like, eventually you're going to find yourself against another Guardian and this is going to come in clutch. But in the meantime, it's a role player in your deck list that greases your wheels.
It is the only cards ever printed that have Heave and Crush on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think Volta just needs more of that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, Volta really needs more in, I'm not saying the Majestic slot that are doing like, put them in your place numbers, but definitely like cards with Heave and Crush that are just good number value cards. Like, man, if I had a Heave 2, cost 3, this attacks for 7, I mean, hey, baby, if I pitch for Tectonic, I could play this for free. I could block 12 and then swing back 7 on a Dominate. That's pretty nasty, you know?
I think that's probably why they didn't print it. That sounds really good.
It sounds really fun. And not so like, since there's no on hit or since there's no like what you're really presenting is just a number. And I think that's what makes it really fun, you know? But that's the thing with Crush cards. Like, I feel like sometimes, like, are they even as impactful as they were, you know, back in Tales of Aria, back in, you know, when people didn't have the armor suites they do now and cards didn't block as well as they used to. I've noticed a huge like design shift in trying to prevent on hits in a lot of cards. Like, you know, the reason why we see a lot of ninja cards block for 3 now is because, well, 3 blocks better than 2, and a good on-rate attack will attack for 3 with an on-hit. So it feels bad if you're trying to play an aggro deck against a control deck, something like Assassin, and, you know, you need to block a Leave No Witnesses for 4. So let's print Shelter from the Storm. And now you have way more ways of stopping daggers from hitting, stopping Leave No Witnesses from hitting. But guess what? When you start printing cards that start blocking better with very low committal cost in your deck plan or for your opponent, suddenly your Crush cards look pretty underwhelming. Like it only, you know, back when Sink Below and Fate Foreseen were the only generic D-Reacts, Crippling Crush would hit. But now, you know, if you're playing Ira and they're running 3 Flick Flag, 3 Sinks, 3 Fates, 3 Shelters, that's...
Which you did at one point in time.
Yeah.
When are you ever letting another Crush effect at that point?
Yeah, like your Crush attacks aren't getting through.
Yeah, even with the bad armor suite that Assassins have, I very, very rarely actually land my Crush effects.
Yeah, and I feel like that's just a concession that, you know, we're going to... In future, when we're deck building, we have to take these considerations into account and really like try to circumvent a lot of that. Think about the game in a different design space for deck building consideration and just kind of like try to navigate that.
Yeah.
You know, to better get around a lot of this.
Hey, everybody, it's Fuzzy from the editor's booth here to let you know that we were having so much fun talking to Brian in Red and Yellow Pitch. And we were able to get through so much cool discussion that we decided to forego Blue Pitch and head straight over into the Arsenal Zone. So I'll leave it back to our main hosts and guests today from the past to tell you all about the Arsenal Zone and what it is.
So we are now starting the Arsenal Zone.
With the Arsenal? You mean where I put my Crippling Crush? What do you mean?
Close, yeah.
No, where you put your Sink Below.
You mean where I put my block cards?
No.
Oh, yeah, they have the little reminder text not to do that. What do you mean I can't block with my block cards?
Reading the card tells you how to play the card.
So what's the Arsenal Zone?
It's the part of our podcast where we all talk about a card that we've been thinking about lately for whatever reason we want. And it's our chance to get our Patreon supporters involved in the very show that we are recording now.
Whoa!
So for today's Patreon, we have for us today, dice roll noise, Big J.
Big J.
Big J.
So the card that he's shouting out today is Palantir Aeronaut.
Ooh, I love this card.
Palantir.
And Palantir Aeronaut is a 2-cost red, 6 power, and 3 block mechanologist attack action that says the defending hero must defend this with an equipment they control if able. And as a thrice per turn instant, you may tap a cog you control, and this gets +1. If this is the 3rd time you've activated this ability, destroy a defending card.
It's so good.
Gas.com. And Big J had this to say about the card. Palantir Aeronaut, 12 T-bones. That's it. Just 12 T-bone style effects, lining a double T-bone to destroy Mask of Momentum, Flick Knives, Fan to Spring Tunic, New Horizons. And I love the fact that these super strong equipment pieces that generate value for being there have counterplay. So true. Mechanologist, it's so funny. I always recall a match I had with Manny, a local of ours, who like double T-boned me and got rid of like 2 of my blade break equipment. I'm like, sick. This is such a fun game.
I love Palantir Aeronaut primarily because it costs 2. So like even when you can't activate 3 golden cogs to destroy a blocking card, which is already insane. That's like upwards of 12, 13 value,
Easily,
right?
yeah.
Depending on what they put on it. But it is also 2 resources, which leaves 1 floating. And a lot of puffins are running pummel.
Oh, yeah.
So being able to pummel on top of this, it's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, so
the value can just explode on this
such
card.
a huge tempo swing.
Yeah, one of my favorite things, Aiden Kwasniewski from 3 Floating told me this.
Shout out, Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my boy. He told me his favorite thing to do, and he brings it into Verdance or a lot of decks I really want to block out, want to combo you out. He will bring in T-bones, and then if he has generated a lot of action points or whatever, he'll T-bone, he'll force a beneficial block for them. They'll give them something that they don't care about, right? T-bone won't break it if it doesn't break. And then he'll play Palantir, force him to give him something else, and then he'll activate the Palantir triggers to blow up the thing the T-bone's targeting.
Oh, yeah.
Because it says defending card.
Oh,
Yeah, it
that's
doesn't have to be
Defending
on
this
the
card.
chain link. Yeah.
Wow.
So, those Storm strategy gave me on T-bone?
Oh, shit.
Sorry, Kano.
Yeah.
That's actually... Ooh, hold
Sorry,
up.
Verdance.
That's fucking gas.
That's actually
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool.
This is the kind of stuff where like people keep saying things like, oh, I mean, we've said it on the pod before. Like Puffin and Marlin, they didn't get an armory deck, so they're bad. Like they didn't get enough support in heavy hitters because all the pirate cards are for gravy bones. So this is why Puffin and Marlin are such shit heroes. But then they have these fucking really game-winning plays. Like Puffin can fucking slap people around. Like these are fucking overrate cards. You know, this is a 2 for 12. She's a good hero.
Yeah.
It's really just consistency.
Yeah.
Right? And that's really where I think Puffin is falling short. But I think people are coming around. I think people are becoming Puffin truthers because KC is happening right now. Kansas City calling. And I think some Puffins were doing really, really well. Really, really well at that event. I think it's only a matter of time before Puffins start to find their way towards the top.
Oh, so yeah, thank you so much, Big J, for your submission. And don't worry, if you submitted a card to our Patreon and it didn't get talked about now, keep submitting. We have a bank of all your guys' suggestions, and we'll get to them one point or another. So thank you so much for shouting out. Yeah. Oh, and also a good game on our Crucible game recently.
Yeah. We are going to now move on to our Arsenal Zone. It's going to be a little extended because we have a guest here with us. So there's going to be 4 cards, technically 5 with our patron in this Arsenal Zone. But so let's make sure we're moving nice and quick through them. Let's start off with Fuzzy because Fuzzy always does something special for our guest episode.
Yeah. I, on every episode of our show, like to bring a copy of the card that I'm shouting out to sign and hand to each of the fellow hosts that I'm recording with. And when I have a guest, I like to make sure I bring a copy for them. And I tend to pick a majestic that is, I try to avoid bulk majestics. So today, I think I managed to hit that goal. I'm shouting out Cast Bones.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Cast Bones is a 0-cost, 3-block brute non-attack action card from heavy hitters that says, reveal the top 6 cards of your deck, create a might token for each card with 6 or more power revealed this way. Put the revealed cards on top of your deck in a random order, and if you control 6 or more might tokens, create an agility token. I love this card's design in the sense that it's like a die roll without being a die roll, so it feels really brute, even though it's a very new effect that we've never seen before.
6 cards. I never realized that before.
How have you never realized? You're joking. You're lying to me.
Legitimately 6 cards and like it being a dice roll.
I've literally said it on the pod before. Were you not listening?
No. Probably because you were talking about it with fucking Tough Nut, and I was like, yeah, no, Tough Nut's gonna go play this card.
It's also a way to make agility tokens, which is like such a powerful effect when you're actually able to make enough mites to make an agility token. The thing is, this card is like way niche. It is so niche that I don't know if any other brute hero in the future will play it ever, because you have to have a very extreme deck building situation. Mm-hmm. KO, Armed and Dangerous, was able to fit that niche because he could, in theory, run only 6s. But as soon as you put more than one copy of Cast Bones in there, you're not guaranteed to hit 6, right? Mm-hmm. If you put like maybe one single copy and no other misses, then it's a guarantee because Cast Bones isn't going to see itself. But like, how are you going to put a play set of this card in, you know? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of...
Especially when we also need 2 Reckless Swings and Blood Rush Bellows. And
there's so many good misses that are worth putting in. And as soon as you put those in, it makes this one harder. Maybe if like there's a pitch stack scenario, I don't know. Like you'd have to get in some pretty extreme situations to get maximum value out of this card. Mm-hmm. I did shout it out on the podcast a little while ago because Tough Nut is an extreme hero. So maybe we'll see some extreme situations for Tough Nut that makes Cast Bones viable. I'm skeptical of that myself, but that's Cast Bones. And I brought a copy to sign for each of you.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you, Fuzzy. All right. Next up is Joel. Joel, what's your Arsenal Zone card?
So for my Arsenal Zone card, I wanted to talk about a tertiary section of the podcast, which is the stupid cards of Mastery Pack Guardian. And the one that comes to mind is Clash of Legs, which is a yellow Guardian block card that blocks for 4 and is a rare and says, when this defends a Guardian attack, clash with the attacking hero. If there is a winner, the other hero puts a -1 counter on a legs they have equipped. If they don't, they lose 1 life. And
how much does it block for?
4.
Wait a minute, is this card good?
It's a yellow 4 block. That's a niche stat.
Well, this is my arsenal. That's not the point of the arsenal. The reason why I picked this card is because the art is the silliest shit you can think of and put on a card. Like you were talking about Cartilage Crush. I prefer that over Clash of Legs because, like, in what instance is
1, 2, 3, 4,
5 fully kitted
pairs
arena competitors kicking. Where are your arms in this scenario?
They're kicking pretty low too, right?
Yeah,
like
that's
the camera's like in the middle of all of them.
Like you're gonna like. I can't even like visualize or like show you guys like what this would look like outside of like just.
I like imagining like when people like kick the dirt on like the baseball referee shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, my first thought when I saw this one and Headbutt was like, wait, this isn't AI, is it? I'm like, no, it's not AI. But it kind of gives me that feeling where it's just fucking legs everywhere and like in weird spots and coming from weird angles.
And to the artist, Carlos Cruchaga, I think he did.
He's great.
He's famous.
I think he did Crouching Tiger.
Oh yeah,
give him more cool arts. Don't give him fucking Clash of Legs, man. Anyways, that's
now
my
you
card.
Need to go get 3 signed copies.
I will. I'm getting my Crouching Tiger signed, and I'm getting my Clash of Legs signed by him.
Love the shout.
Yeah. For my card, I am shouting out Rootbound Carapace. I very recently played in our local Blitz skirmish where I brought Runestack Florian. I essentially ran the old CC list, but now we have Everbloom Life, so it's gotta just be way better, right? Nope, I went 1-2.
Jesus Christ.
It was not great. I ended up in so many situations where too much of my deck were instants and defense reactions and block cards that didn't actually let me decompose comfortably at a reasonable rate because I needed to decompose the moment I had it available. And that was just hard to always have happen. I was drawing my root bounds either too early or too late, and with how fast Blitz can move and how rough it is to just give your opponent tempo, it just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
To explain the card, Rootbound Carapace, 0 cost, 3 block, Earth defense reaction at red, where you can decompose by banishing 2 Earth cards and an action card. to give it +1 defense. Ultimately, yeah, just didn't really work out into aggro matchups the way I thought it was. I'm like, I have a million block 4s, and then a single Ninth Blade turn just wins the game. And that just wasn't what was happening, because it would take way too long for me to get online, build up my stack, and then find the attack to throw. It just didn't work out. I should have played my Slippy list. And now, it's time for you to have your own Arsenal card, Brian. What is the card that you are shouting out for everyone?
Yeah, take us home.
So the card I'm shouting out today is the card you would get if you put Fuzzy, Clark, and Joel's bodies together on AI and asked them to make a card out of it.
Oh my goodness.
So
it's
true.
Peck Perfect.
Whoa.
My pecks are not that perfect.
I see it.
The packs are for me, and you guys have the other parts of the
I asked AI to perfectly replicate.
Oh, you look at the art. Fuzzy's in the foreground, and you two are in the background.
Gotcha.
So, Peck Perfect to me is what I would consider a card on first glance to read pretty terrible. In fact, when I first read it, I misread it. And I thought it said, when this defends.
Oh.
And that's wrong. It says, when a card defends this. And that's every instance. So you can really catch your opponent trying to read this for the first time, completely misevaluating it. And they're thinking, oh, okay, so if I just block this for 9, 3 cards, and they get a clash once, not a big deal. Well, wrong. This blocks for every card. That means armor. That means cards defending. Yeah. That means defense reactions. The more cards you put on this card, the more we're clashing. And if I've built my deck to win clashes, you're just giving me that free value. So I feel like a lot of people, when first presented with this card, are going to make a lot of mistakes. They're going to block pretty poorly. And you're going to find yourself in a position where you can take advantage of that. Also, like if you're playing Verdance or some kind of deck that's trying to stack you, being able to hit H-pots or combo pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Or just like their codexes, something just really value. It puts your opponent in this weird value proposition where, man, how much do I block this for? And being able to put your opponent in the grinder like that can really hurt them. It basically says, whenever a card defends this, clash with the defending hero. The winner destroys the top card of the other hero's deck. And it is a 5 cost, 9 power, 3 block red pitch.
I really like this card. I actually really love this card in Victor because I can pump it with Visit the Goldmane Estate so that they actually feel like they have to block it. Because a lot of the times, this kind of has the same issue as like a lot of Warrior cards of it's like, okay, no blocks.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? And it's like nothing. But if I can pump it to come in for like 17, you can't just say no blocks, baby. You have to block.
That's kind of a big number.
It is a big number.
That would make me sweat a little bit.
Yeah.
But also what I was kind of thinking about this card when it was first revealed is this might be a sick Betsy card. If you slap some wagers on this card, you're winning that wager or you're making them risk a bunch of cards off the top of their deck. And Betsy is a hero that has seen a weird amount of fatigue lists also. So I think this could be a really interesting niche. Sorry to all the Betsy haters. I know you guys are in a bit of a rut right now.
Yeah. What's also cool about this is unlike many other Clash cards, as the Guardian player, your card stays on top through all of the clashes.
Yeah.
Which is something they've tried to stay away from. So if you flip like that Red Thunderquake or that put them in their place on top, it's just, buddy.
Yeah.
Mill for every card.
Yep. I feel you ever had your opponent clash while you're attacking?
No.
Exactly.
That too. Yeah.
I feel like it also kind of works for your favor in the opposite, where if you have like, oh no, my pummel's on top. Okay, you lose your pummel. That sucks. But then you get a new card for the remainder of those clashes. Like you can start winning again. Like they all trigger independently. So even if you lose the first one, you can still win the next one or two if they're blocking with like, a full grip.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys.
Great shout out.
Yeah, fantastic card.
Thank you.
Is there a fifth host or is that they're all the
Unfortunately, I think that's all the Arsenal Zone shout outs we have for today.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our episode then. Here at the end, we have... I know. We've talked so much about Mastery Pack Guardian. I'm so happy that we were able to dig as deep into it, as well as highlight aspects of what the community has gone through regarding this, and also how opinions about this might change in the future. How maybe it's just the wrong meta or the wrong moment for this set to come out.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad set or that it's not doing the right things. Ultimately, though, time will have to tell about Mastery Pack Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the pod. Once again, is there anything you want to shout out for the audience back home? Where can they hear more of your beautiful voice?
All right. So to close it out for you guys with me, my name is Brian Gutierrez. You can find me on socials like Instagram at goblet_VGC, on Spotify at goblets with an I, and soon on YouTube, goblets spelled go blitz with a Z and an I. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much again for your time with us. And until next time, guys, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Pitch It To Me podcast is hosted by Fuzzy Delp, Clark Moore, and Joel Recinos. Executive producer, Talon Stradley. Logistics coordinator, John Farkas. Music by Dillon Hulse. Logo by Han V. Sound mixing, Christopher Moore. And last but not least, you. Thank you for listening. Please give us a follow on your favorite social media platform at Pitch It To Me podcast. Like a booster shot, you know, like let's just pump a little bit of love into. Is that a weird? Should I avoid that phrase?
You're just Brian Gottlieb pumping a little love. Just a little peck perfect.
Little seismic surge.
Now it's Valda instead of Bravo.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to.
That's not Valda, is it?
It's Valda, yeah. The strong one.
And the old one is Bravo. I kind of thought that was just like generic macho guy guardian, and now it's generic macho girl guardian.
Wait, really?
Fair, Bravo and Valda are both generic macho people.
Macho was definitely Bravo. I don't know if it's Valda, though. She's a brunette in that one, right?
Macho Grande has a brunette
Is it Bravo?
in like shorts. And it also says, it has a quote from Valda, but it could just be that she's a lesbian and she's checking out this.
Hey.
Valda has brunette roots from the looks of it. Or maybe that's just the lighting.
Do they dye hair in Wraith?
It's definitely a different outfit.
I don't know. Look at Valda. You tell me. That looks like her roots are a different color than her hair.
Is it?
Oh.
Yeah, it's a different outfit.
Okay. Valda in the art style.
We'll cut this.